Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Tasha. Let's get into this. So, hi guys, welcome. If this is your first time, thank you for tuning in. Please follow us on YouTube at Inappropriate Radio TV. We can also be found on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, as well as Spreaker at Inappropriate Radio. We're going to be on Amazon Podcasts very soon and getting on the camera. I know I said that, but don't rush me. But hi guys, I hope all is well. I actually had 4 or 5 downloads that I wanted to get into, but the creator told me to say something and let you guys know. COVID was just one big spiritual symptom. It was an ascension symptom. If you think about your spiritual journey and you think about all of the things that you experience up until the point where you realize that the creator really wanted to use you. And I mean, maybe you've already known. Maybe you've had this bizarre relationship with the world around you. Maybe you've always been ahead of your time. Maybe you've always understood things that nobody ever taught you. You just knew it, right? Most of the times, the creator, remember, we just had this discussion the other day. If you are spiritually, in tune, gifted, anointed, in any kind of way, you are on a different timeline than everyone else that you are connected to, right? The people that you share a timeline with are your purpose mates, your soul mates, the people that are going to be ushering you into your next levels, your children, born and unborn, those things, right? Those type of things. When we started to go through the initial process or the inception, for lack of better terms, of COVID, a lot of people were already being ushered into positions that they would be in for the next 10 or 20 years, right? So everything that you're doing now, everything that you were doing around 2019 and the really beginning of 2020, because remember, COVID kind of shut everything down at the end of the first quarter, right? It was like coming into the second quarter of 2020. So that first quarter, the creator was preparing you to become acquainted with the spiritual aspects of yourself that you're going to be facing up until about 2035, 2040, right? And I think now when we start to look at where we are and compare it to 2019 and 2020, you'll know that I'm not lying. You'll know that I'm telling the truth. You'll know that everything that you were doing before COVID started is kind of what you've been settling into now. Your ability to focus on whatever that thing may be has determined your relationship with your higher self, okay? Not the highest, the higher, with the level of you that needs to be attained in order to successfully phase through this dimension, this timeline, right? You are definitely going to be seeing a lot of things unfold that's going to bring you back to earlier times meaning 2019, 2018, the beginning of 2020. And some of it is going to be energy, some of it is going to be thoughts, some of it is going to be different places, and just everything that you're doing at this moment is going to remind you of that. First of all, because we just completed a full cycle, right? That 4-year period of, the shutdown, the shift, the transition. Technically, that 4-year cycle ended last August of September of 23, because the real actual mark started around this time, 2019, okay? From the midsummer into the fall of 2019. So the people who got sick, they either were phased out because it was time for new energy, and their energy, their essence was needed somewhere else, or you had to be prepared for the energy. You were being prepared for the energy that you need to be stepping into. The people who were ahead of the curve were already prepared. Those are the people who more than likely didn't get sick. Those are the people who were leveraged in some kind of way spiritually, meaning they had already been prepared for the energy that was coming beforehand. And these are your prophets, these are your seers, these are the intercessors, these are your black sheeps, these are the chosen ones, the indigos, the ones who foresee the danger before it comes. And I'm not saying any of those people can't get sick. I'm just saying that more than likely during that time, they did not get sick. Now, there are several phases of COVID that took place after the initial inception. These different strands that were coming in 21 and 22, the different strands that are still out there. Maybe people did catch those because they're a part of the after, okay? Those different strands are connected to the phases and cycles that are to come after this 35 and 40 year period. And maybe people did get sick because their energy is going to be needed to be buffered a little bit more 10 years from now, 15 years from now. So the people that got sick and didn't die are the people, and there are different layers, right? There are people who caught it more than once. That means their energy wasn't at the frequency that it needs to be in order to survive. A lot of the times, near-death experiences will bring people closer to the Creator. It will bring people closer to their purpose. It will bring people into an energetic field or closer to it, close enough to start vibrating high enough where they can exist here. I mean, even if you're not in your purpose, because remember, everyone doesn't complete the cycle successfully. Some people are just completely disobedient, and that's the only reason why people won't be able to get to where they're going, simply put, because they are disobedient. The Creator gives us everything we need to get through this life the right way. And the moment you realize that you have everything you need is the moment that you start moving forward in the spirit. Make sure, maybe your body and your mind isn't always on task and on the same page as your spirit, but that's okay, because everything happens in the spirit first anyway, okay? So it's totally okay if you haven't reached the point where you feel you would have liked to by now, okay? Everything is not going to be the way we imagine it to be. Sometimes we have to experience things that we don't want to in order to prevail and really, really make it. And when I say make it, I mean expand. I mean, get to a point where you know that you've worked your butt off to get where you are, and you know that whatever it is you've been contributing will be beneficial to the people who are coming behind you, whether they are connected to you by blood or not. A lot of people don't have a close enough relationship with the Creator to even determine what their gifts are. And that's what that was. A lot of people who experienced And it doesn't even have to be like near death. I mean, just coming into contact with this germ disease. I would like to call it a frequency. I don't want to call it a germ or disease or anything like that, because it is responsible for changing the entire frequency of the world. I mean, just like the Spanish flu, if you want to go back to any time period where millions of people have died simultaneously in various pockets of the world, the entire vibration of the planet is shifted. And I think we know, right? This is old information. It's said to happen every 100 years. So it's not like this is something that's like new or unknown to mankind, right? We've seen it happen before. So the real issue here is avoiding the lessons that are attached to these times, ignoring and walking away, right, from the frequency that we're being catapulted into. And no one is gonna fully get it, right? I think that's the whole point and purpose of us being sent here to begin with. We are here to learn lessons. We are here to be more aligned with the Creator than we are in any other, dimension. We come here to vibe with God way more than we get to vibe with Him while we are in a different space and aspect, because this is where we have to fight for the connection. This is where we have to come to make a realization that the Creator does in fact exist. Your spiritual self knows that God is the Creator and that there is something greater than you that is outside of you, that is in control and that is worthy of praise and that is responsible for orchestrating every aspect of your life. Your spiritual self knows that. It is the part of you that is connected to this physical body that needs to be reminded of that. And sometimes, just sometimes, obviously every 100 years, the people that are dwelling need to be reminded of that. And I'm assuming that there's going to be some new things coming, some new diseases that's going to shake us up a bit more. But our little dance with 2020 has slightly prepared us. I mean, even genetically, right? Your genes have come into contact, because if it's in the air, you breathed it in, whether you felt the symptoms or not. That means you were already acclimated to it. I hope that makes sense. So that means in your genes, it's already saturated. You've breathed it in enough for it to become a part of your physiological makeup. So that means everything connected to you via your genetics, DNA, your blood, right, aka your offspring, are going to sort of kind of have some type of immunity already built towards this thing, right? So there's no resistance. The only thing left would be to be built up for something else that is not in connection to this, which is what happens every cycle. Those 100-year cycles, they build us all up to be prepared for the overall consciousness. And this is connecting with the Creator. This is taking care of our bodies. This is being conscientious of the physical environments that we're in. This is being aware of all the different things that can attack us, but we still find a way to survive throughout it because we're not in control. All right. But I hope it made sense. If it didn't, it probably wasn't for you. All right. But I do love y'all. I hope all is well. I hope y'all are drinking your water, eating your fruit and vegetables, and sipping your own tea because it's free. Love y'all. Peace.